All right, let's get right into it. We're about to seriously question some of the most sacred advice in the tech world. The mantras we all kind of live by. And we're going to do it by looking at the incredible work of Shreya Doshi, who points out why following that advice might actually be the very thing that's setting you up to fail. You know this one. It's everywhere. Move fast and break things. It's the battle cry of pretty much every startup. The core idea is that speed is everything. Just get it out there, see what sticks, and hey, you can always fix it later, right? And then, of course, there's its very close cousin, fail fast. This is the one that says failure isn't just okay, it's something to be celebrated. It's a badge of honor on the road to innovation. The faster you fail, the faster you learn. That's the logic anyway. And this is the classic from LinkedIn's co-founder, Reid Hoffman. It's basically the ultimate permission slip to ship something that's, well, not quite finished. It prioritizes getting to market over getting it perfect. For a lot of teams, this is basically gospel. Okay, but here's the pivot. Here's the really important question. What if all these mantras, all this advice from the most successful people in the world, what if it's actually a dangerous trap for the rest of us? What if this is the hidden reason so many smart, hardworking teams build products that just go absolutely nowhere? Well, the answer seems to lie in what Shreya Doshi calls the two lives of a product builder. And it's a journey that pretty much all of us go on, whether we realize it or not. It's this shift from a life of just doing to a life with a much deeper and, honestly, sometimes more painful understanding of our work. So in your first life, it's all about the build, the energy, the thrill. It all comes from making stuff, from shipping features, from that feeling of constant motion. And man, it feels so productive, doesn't it? This is where most of us start out. We're just trying to get things done. But then, eventually, you enter the second life. And it usually starts with this painful truth that hits you like a ton of bricks. Every single thing you build, no matter how small, has a hidden cost. You realize you become both emotionally attached to it and practically shackled by it. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. So let's actually break that down. Attached and shackled. Being attached, that's the psychological part. Your ego, your identity, it gets all tangled up in the thing you made. You start defending it, you lose your objectivity. And then being shackled, that's the practical side. Every new feature is a promise you have to keep. It's more maintenance, more tech debt, and it literally constrains what you can do next. So why does the just build advice work for some people but not for others? This, right here, is probably the most important insight of this whole idea. It has nothing to do with how hard you work or how smart you are. It's about a fundamental difference in who is actually hearing the advice. Just look at this breakdown. You have the exceptional builder, the top 1%. They can just build because their gut, their intuition is just incredibly sharp. Their instincts are consistently right. But then there's the average builder, which, let's be honest, is most of us. We follow the exact same advice, but we do it with average judgment. And the result, we get attached to and shackled by a mediocre product. Think of it this way. It's like someone with average athletic ability trying to follow LeBron James's exact training routine. You can do all the same exercises, you can eat the same food, but you are not going to get the same results. Because the outcome isn't just about the actions, it's about the underlying talent. It's the exact same thing with building products. And that's what makes this so tricky. The most dangerous advice comes from successful people who are giving you their honest experience. They say just build because for them, it worked. What they don't realize is that their superpower isn't building fast. It's their exceptional judgment. And so they're unknowingly giving advice that can be really harmful to the very people trying to learn from them. And when you have this fundamental mismatch, it leads to a huge problem. When things go wrong, when our projects fail, we almost always blame the wrong thing. We consistently misdiagnose the root cause of the failure. I mean, think about it. Move fast is a vibe. It's a philosophy. It doesn't actually help you make any of the thousands of tiny decisions you have to make every single day. Which bug do you fix? Should you add this field to a form? Those are the micro decisions where success or failure is actually decided, and the big mantras give you zero guidance there. So when the project eventually fails, what happens in that post-mortem meeting? We tell the official story. You've heard it a million times. We didn't have enough resources, the market timing was off, engineering was too slow, the competition was just faster. It's always something external. But the real story, the one that's a lot harder to talk about, is that it was a failure of thinking. Every single one of those excuses is just a symptom. Bad timing? That's a failure of strategic judgment. Engineering was too slow? That's a failure of prioritization. The root cause, almost every time, is the quality of the thinking that happened along the way. We even have all these fancy names for the symptoms, right? The IKEA effect, where you love something more just because you built it yourself. That's a direct result of being attached. Or the bias for building, where we jump into action before we really understand the problem. That's a symptom of blindly following move fast. These aren't random bugs in our brain. They are the predictable outcomes of this whole dynamic. So, if the old mantras are a trap, where does that leave us? What's the alternative? It's easy to feel a little lost here. But the path forward, while it's definitely not as simple, is a whole lot more honest. Now, our first instinct is probably to think, okay, if build fast is bad, then build slow must be good. But let's be super clear about this. That is absolutely not the answer. That's just trading one useless, simplistic mantra for another one. Here's the hard truth. There is no shortcut for judgment. There's no magic slogan, no 5-step framework that can replace the hard, messy, slow work of actually developing your own contextual judgment. The goal isn't to find a better mantra to write on the wall, it's to realize that mantras aren't the answer in the first place. The real work is, well, it's harder. First, you have to accept it. Accept that you will get attached to and shackled by what you build. It's human nature. Second, you have to look failure in the eye and diagnose it honestly as a failure of thinking, even when that's uncomfortable. And finally, you have to commit to the real work, developing your own judgment, day by day, through practice and reflection, not by just copying what someone else did. And that really leaves us with one last big question to think about. This isn't just about building software. This applies to, well, pretty much everything. So take a second and really ask yourself, what expert advice, what popular mantra are you following right now in your own work or in your life that was never, ever meant for you?